So you've probably heard the term, oh, he's such a narcissist, she's such a narcissist, thrown around all the time. Often that just means the person is being self-focused, and we can all do that at times. But when it comes to narcissism itself, what does that really mean? What is a clinical narcissist, or what do you do with it? And believe it or not, whenever you look at narcissism scales, pastors often show up here quite frequently. And I believe it's because there needs to be an element of wanting to be in front of people and needing to run a church, that they would sort of need a little bit of this in order to do well at it. But when is it a problem, and when does it become a bigger problem? So what we know is narcissism is actually a scale disorder. It's on a spectrum. And so over here is your narcissist. What does that mean? Well, a narcissist is a person who has no internal identity. And what that means is they have a wound inside of them, and so they end up not knowing who they are. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're supposed to do. So they're always looking for other people to reflect who they're supposed to be. So they look for external identity. When they look for external identity, if you work for a narcissist or you're married to a narcissist, this means your job becomes making sure they know they're okay. So they're constantly looking for your approval. So they look for external approval. And when they're looking for external approval, it becomes your job to keep telling them how wonderful they are. So you have to constantly tell them how wonderful they are. And so that means that it can get very exhausting because you're constantly affirming and you're not feeling like you're getting a lot back from the person. The other part of a narcissist is all the rules are for you, none of them are for me. So everything they want you to do, they aren't going to do for you. So that's also just, these are just some very simplistic ways of understanding it. All rules for you. Now, what happens when we're talking about a malignant narcissist? So you've got this basic narcissism, and this in and of itself can be exhausting. But if you don't meet the standard, they might get weepy, or they might talk about how, oh, nobody loves me, and I have so much lack of worth, and everything needs to be about me. But it's more of just a pity party type of thing that happens on a regular basis if you're not constantly affirming, constantly giving them external identity, and following all the rules that they're not going to follow. So when we come over here, though, when you break those rules, a malignant narcissist will add anger, accusation, blame to all of this stuff about identity that they're looking for, because you are not doing your job and you're not constantly telling them how wonderful they are. So when that stops, when this stuff stops for them, they start to get into characteristics of what's actually an antisocial personality disorder, or what is often called psychopathy. So a antisocial personality disorder, they have no empathy at all. They don't care about anybody but themselves. They don't even really care about connection. No connection. And everything that they're doing is simply for control. So although a malignant narcissist can also want control, they can have some elements of empathy for you. What you might notice, either with a pastor, if you're getting ready to leave a church, they're going to kick into all of this, and they start moving towards that. You leave a marriage, you're no longer following the rules. So instead of having their identity be in them, in what they know internally or in Christ, their identity is in you, and that can be extremely exhausting. I'm Dr. Pauline Dillard, and this has been a Dunamas moment.